Why does it feel like your salary never really stretches as far as it should? Not just sometimes, but almost every single month. You get paid, you feel a short moment of relief, maybe even progress. And then within days, sometimes hours, that feeling quietly disappears again. And you're left wondering the same thing. Where did it all go? Now here's something uncomfortable, but worth thinking about. It might not be that you earn too little. It might be that your salary was never designed to feel like enough in the first place. Let's break that down slowly. Imagine an ordinary working life in the United States or Europe. A young professional in their late 20s. Stable job, decent education, a salary that would have sounded good just a few years ago. Let's say they earn around $4,000 or euros per month after tax. Not poor, not rich, just what most people would call comfortable. Now the month begins. The first major expense is always the same: housing. Rent or mortgage takes around $1,300 to $1,600. It doesn't feel optional, because it isn't. It's just where you live. After that comes transportation, a car payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance. Even a modest setup easily reaches $500 to $700 per month. Again, not luxury. Just normal life in most cities. Now we're already at roughly $2,100 to $2,300 gone. And we haven't even touched food, subscriptions, phone bills, or basic living costs. Let's add another $400 to $600 for groceries, eating out occasionally, streaming services, and daily expenses. Now we're at around $2,800 to $2,900. On paper, there should still be a comfortable buffer. But this is where the invisible layer begins. Credit cards, student loans, buy now pay later payments, small subscriptions you forgot about, weekend spending that didn't feel significant at the time. Let's say another $400 to $700 quietly leaves the account. And suddenly, that comfortable salary of $4,000 is now almost fully accounted for. What's left is maybe $200. Maybe $300, maybe nothing at all depending on the month. And this is the moment most people experience the same emotional confusion. I make a decent salary, so why does it feel like I'm always starting over? The hidden reason is not a single expense. It's the structure of modern spending itself. Because your salary doesn't just pay for survival anymore. It pays for a lifestyle that was built in layers. And each layer feels small enough to be harmless on its own. But together, they form something much heavier than most people realize. Now let's talk about the real mistake, because it's not ignorance. It's normalization. Most people don't consciously decide to live beyond their means. It happens slowly, almost invisibly. You finish school or university. You get your first stable job. You move out. You upgrade your lifestyle slightly. A better apartment, a financed car, a few subscriptions for convenience, a credit card for flexibility. Nothing extreme. Everything feels reasonable, and that's exactly why it works. Because the system doesn't need you to overspend dramatically. It only needs you to accept small, repeated financial commitments that feel normal. Now let's add simple psychology into this. Human beings don't experience money in absolute terms. They experience it in monthly comfort, not total wealth. But monthly affordability. That's why a $30,000 or euro car doesn't feel like $30,000. It feels like $350 per month. That shift is powerful, because your brain stops processing total cost. It only processes manageable fragments. And once everything becomes a monthly number, you stop seeing the bigger picture entirely. Now let's connect this to what actually happens over time. Two people can earn the same salary, $4,000 per month after tax. One of them slowly builds fixed monthly obligations of $3,200. The other keeps them closer to $2,200. On paper, the difference looks small. But over 1 year, the first person saves almost nothing. The second person saves over $12,000. After 5 years, one person has financial flexibility. The other is still waiting for next month to finally feel easier. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most financial stress is not created by emergencies. It is created by permanent monthly commitments that never go away. Rent resets every month. Car payments continue. Subscriptions renew. Loans don't pause. So even when your income grows slightly, your obligations quietly grow with it. This is what people call lifestyle inflation. But that term is almost too soft for what it really is. Because it doesn't feel like inflation when you're living it, it feels like progress. A better apartment feels like growth. A newer car feels like success. More convenience feels like maturity. But financially, it creates a structure where your life expands in cost at the same speed as your income. And that's the trap. Because in that structure, you are always financially standing still, even when your salary increases. Now the psychological reason this happens is even more interesting. Most people are not trying to maximize wealth. They are trying to minimize discomfort. And discomfort includes things like inconvenience, uncertainty, and comparison. So when a slightly better lifestyle is available and affordable on credit, the brain often chooses it immediately. Not because it is optimal, but because it feels like relief. This is why financial decisions are rarely mathematical in real life. They are emotional responses disguised as logical choices. Now step back and look at the long-term impact. If someone continues this pattern for 10 to 15 years, something subtle happens. Their income rises, their responsibilities rise, but their freedom does not move in the same direction. They become high earners with low flexibility. People who appear stable, but feel constantly behind. Not because of one bad decision, but because of hundreds of small ones that all made sense individually. Now let's shift the perspective. Financially intelligent people do not necessarily live dramatically different lives. They just interpret money differently. They don't see monthly payments as harmless fragments. They see them as future constraints. They understand that every fixed payment reduces optionality. And in their thinking, optionality is more valuable than comfort upgrades. So instead of asking, "Can I afford this monthly payment?" they quietly ask a different question. Do I want this decision to follow me for the next 3 to 7 years? That single shift changes everything, because it moves focus away from affordability and toward long-term structure. And over time, that structure creates something most people never feel with the same income level: space. Space to change jobs. Space to handle uncertainty. Space to invest without pressure. Space to not feel trapped at the end of every month. And ironically, that space is what most people are actually trying to buy when they upgrade their lifestyle. But they often buy the opposite instead. Less space, more obligation. Now, none of this means you should live minimally or avoid enjoying your money. That's not the point. The point is awareness, because once you see the structure clearly, you stop confusing income with financial safety. And you stop assuming that a higher salary automatically solves pressure. It doesn't. Structure does. And if your structure is built on constant monthly commitments, even a higher salary will eventually feel tight again. So the real question is not, how much do I earn? It's, how much of my income is already spoken for before the month even begins? Because that number quietly decides how your financial life feels. Not in theory, but every single month. And maybe that is the hidden reason your salary never feels enough. Not because it isn't, but because too much of it already belongs to tomorrow. If this helped you see your financial situation a little more clearly, consider subscribing or liking the video.